All right. We're gonna talk about. Huh? Is it disconnected or is it not? Quit playing with me. Quit playing with me, young bull. All right, let me see. Hold up. I don't like have my time played with, and I'm sure neither did you. Let me see. Come on. Which channel is this live on? This one, right? Bruh. Streaming, but to where? To who? I ain't get a notification I was live. Nigga, I know I'm subscribed to me. Okay. So it is live. Where's the link? There's no age restriction. All right. That's good. I'm trying to see if I can like get to a good point contingency where I can clip out all the BS. All right. Disconnected, reconnecting. Stop doing that. So I guess I have to have it up. Is that what this is? Because if so, that's annoying. Close our notepad. Alright, we'll find a point, yada yada. New songs coming on. So, let's start this intro. Alright. I'm gonna talk about STYANAX on this episode 1 of Bums Are Broken. And kind of just what I would like to do for him for like a redesign, because like I think he's so cool. But let's get into it. Alright, now this doesn't really have much to do with the video at all. You can make inference and make if this affects your opinion for some reason, it's just the Archimedia table or whatever that Pablo had posted. A very low, but I would kind of want to say average pick rate. I don't know if to call it average or not. He surely is there, and he's kind of in the middle. So a very median pick rate. Is that even how you would describe that? I don't know. I don't care. I don't. All right. The problem with the boy. This is like a simple explanation of what my problem with him is. He's not super duper intriguing. He doesn't really grab my attention. He looks hella cool. He's one of the sauciest niggas I know, right? But is he really like that, or is his Gucci fake? Is that chain really diamond, or is that whole plastic? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, is he really walking some DR1s, or is his Jordan logo throwing ass, as pictured here? All right. Next slide. Yo, if I sound sniffy, I took some nasal spray. Yeah, some of this Afrin. Whew. Got me feeling some type of way. All right. Now a bit expanded. Like all that sauce for what? It's a very simple loop. It's cool, but it's kind of augment merchy. Um, the loop is simple. You group the enemies. You strip them, like their armor, their defenses. Uh, you got rally point, and you kill them with final stand, and you just kind of keep doing that, and keep it a buck. That doesn't really intrigue me. They're all so one note. They're extremely one note, doubly so, because if you kind of think about it, kind of like the comparison to the boys, it's just like wow. Two of the abilities on STYANAX are on two of the abilities on the boys, and as far as like the grouping in the armor strip, it really is just it could have been better. Yeah, we'll call it that. I like the fact that the one Axios requires you to hit the enemies if you want to group them up. I think that's cool. I don't think it's very effective as it could be, especially not without the augment. But yeah. Now as far as stripping them, you know, it doesn't get rid of overguard. It doesn't make the enemies more vulnerable. And I'm not sure which strips do get rid of overguard. I don't think there's any. There might be one. I don't know, off the top of the dome. But yeah, it would be nice if it did that. It wouldn't be as much of a problem if his passive was better, and if his 4 is better. But the passive gives you like a mediocre amount of crit, and his 4 final stand does a mediocre amount of damage at a certain level. If you really want to do big damage with it, obviously you gotta roar it, nourish it, if you want to get to that higher level content. But like all things, it starts to fall off to an extent. But the really great frames, even some just okay frames, don't have that problem as a steep fall off as his kit does, even with the augments. All right. And like right here, overguard at higher levels doesn't scale that great. Like it can, but it becomes somewhat tedious to do. You're right. So like spamming forward to keep the overguard up, you know, at a certain level, you're not killing enemies, and you just have that there to refresh it to overguard gate. You're too busy spamming forward when you could be killing motherfuckers. At a certain point, you're gonna do both of those at the same time, but it's kind of just, it's just not as good. It's not as good as Dante. It's not as good as Clairvo. Obviously, those are like self-sustaining. Whereas this 4, it really just doesn't, and it doesn't even interact with the passive, which I've kind of adjusted to my liking in this redesign. All right, so these are his abilities, as we kind of just talked about. Not super in depth. This right here is super in depth. It's copied from the wiki though. So, in case you didn't know, I didn't know, so I started doing the research. I asked people around. His passive, 40 shields equals 1 crit chance, which could be a lot depending on how you wanted to implement this crit chance. All right, the way it is implemented is additive with crit chance mods. Isn't as effective as it could be in a much wider and more general scale. All right, so your first action you want to do with him, pop rally point. You know, give the boys, you and your team, some energy and some survivability. They get kills, they get shields, so do you, and you guys get energy just from existing. You throw a javelin, repel the enemies like I already said, strip them, and you can get extra crit damage on them with the augment as it exists now. Throw some javelins at them, kill them, and doing that will get you overguard. There's a lot of stuff here. Please bear in mind that just because it's written, it looks like a lot, doesn't mean it does a lot. This is just information. You probably, if you really care enough, pause it, read it so you can learn. If you don't care enough, cool, that's fine. Yeah. Next. So compared to what you just read, here's some changes, or if you just read it, here's some changes I would like to see made. If they didn't want to do like a whole redesign for them, which they probably won't, it would be nice if they did. It'd be cool. here's just certain things that I would like to see improved upon. A lot of this, what you'll notice, is just a bit more of an additional things. A lot of things you'll see though. For instance, let's just go to rally point. You know, we'll boost up the range on that, and getting kills, depending on your strength, will grant you even more shields. You feel me? Axios Javelin, propel the enemy that you hit for longer. It has a chance to crit. His abilities don't crit, unfortunately. But his whole passive is crit. So like, why have that passive if it doesn't interact with your abilities? You know, somebody with a good passive that does interact with his abilities could be somebody like Uriel. Hell, I think List's passive is just really strong. It doesn't necessarily have to interact with her abilities. A couple other frames I think off the top of the dome. Ash's passive, hell yeah. Gauss's passive, yeah, works really well with his kit. This passive doesn't work with this kit at all. It's supposed to work with their weapon, and nothing you do buffs the damage of your weapons. A debuff is not a buff. I need you to remember that. I'm not gonna stop saying it. You know, making the javelin stronger, pretty cool. Allowing them to be able to crit also could be too strong. I don't know. I'm not Pablo. I'm not the one testing it. I'd love to. Let me know if y'all need me. Another change I would make to this passive, as it exists right now, instead of 40, let's make it 25. It's just a lot stronger, a lot more beneficial. Alright, cool. Next slide though. Now, this is kind of like what I would do as far as like a redesign for him, right? A lot of words here. Ooh, what's going on? Let's start at Axios in the top left. All right. You can kind of keep the bus I added to it, whatever, yada yada. I would love to see Axios and Theros as an exalted spear gun and shield. That would play somewhat like into the Vincubus. We'll talk about this more later though. But I was kind of thinking, saying, what are some mechanics that I really do enjoy about certain frames? Lavos, Verona, Uriel all have it to where certain passes are tied to their abilities, and I think that is just so genius. I think that was very creative. It encourages you to use their base kit a bit more. And if you want to helmet it, okay, you can kind of get your whatever you want from the helmets if you feel like you want that, but you are going to give up certain things. In this case, giving up something for like subsuming off Axios and rally point would be really bad for you. So do it at your own discretion. Well, let's talk about it. His new passive, right? And you'll see why this is increased when you see the math. 100 shields equals 1% crit chance. That affects either the initial, kind of like an incarnate evolution, or a final crit. It multiplies your crit after mods by the percentage. So what does that mean? So as far as example 1, it's like a crit injection into your base crit, as I can kind of describe it. So for example 1, right? STYANAX is giving you 20% crit chance from his passive because you have 20,000 overshields. You get that 20,000 overshields by having rally point. That's the passive that you get with rally point. The equation changes like so. You have your weapon, the dread to be specific, with a 50% chance, 50% base critical chance, right? This passive is gonna give you 200% crit chance. So you're gonna take that base, you multiply that by 3, and that becomes your new initial base crit chance. All right. It's not like a crit delay. It's like you're just affecting that base as it is right there. Then you start with that new base. You can mod that base with something like crit delay. All right. So you take your 150% base crit chance, you mod it with crit delay. That's times 3. 150 times 3 is 450. All right. Boom. And that's a pretty big jump from just the crit delay plus the 200 that would be 50 times 6. 5 times 6, that's 300. Instead of 300, you're at 450. So you're multiplying that by 0.5, essentially. Now the math works out, at least with the 50% base crit chance, the exact same as example 2, where you're changing where it is in the formula once again. So the way it works now, you have your 50% base crit chance, you might have the crit delay. You would end up with 150% final, all right? Now with this final, your passive then kicks in. Your passive then multiplies it by at 200%, so times 3 for your 450. And then of course after this, then if you had something like a Avenger or Cat's Eye, it'd be like 450 plus the 45, so 495. Not like you don't, because like Avenger and Cat's Eye still need to go at the very end. If it didn't, I think this one would be a bit more crazy for that, and then that would just kind of, at least in my opinion, from what I understand, that'd just be too damn strong. We want to keep it somewhat balanced, but with a purpose. Now I felt like this pass for 100 shields for 100% crit chance was appropriate, because having 20,000 overshields, okay, you gotta have these overshields to keep this passive. Will you continue to have these overshields? Not if you're getting shot at. It's kind of hard to have that when you're getting shot at. So if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then yeah. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Theros. All right, you can keep the changes, and now still overguard converted into shields. We don't want overguard anymore. Fuck that. The passive wants shields. Why are we getting overguard? Now it encourages you to use the force, spam that shit, and not engage with like the whole shield mechanic from rally point and the passive. Let's make it synergize more. Make it tighten it. When you added overguard to the equation, what you did do was protect the amount of shields you had, which is cool, but kind of counterintuitive as far as like the engagement, and you made that one of the best forms of survivability rather than having something like rally point being as necessary, where you kind of diminish what rally point's supposed to do as far as generating shields and getting kills that way and whatnot. You feel me? Alright, so there's that it changes, right? If you want to change, actually, let me get back to reading this. So after you hit somebody with the Darrow Strike, it applies a buff to your weapon because he has no weapon buff. Alright, I thought this would be cool. When you attack an enemy, you strip 5% of defenses at 100% strength, so 200% strength would be 10%. Each time you attack for a set duration, 25 seconds at 100% duration. The effect is doubled on spear guns and on Axios and Theros. The exalted weapon we're going to talk about in a little bit. I felt with this change I had to make a change to the augment. So Theros Fidelity also casts in front of allies without staggering enemies, because if somebody is staggering an enemy that you're trying to shoot at, and like let's say you're trying to get a headshot because you're a hero or something, or you're doing some side evasion, and all your enemies keep getting staggered over and over again for whatever reason, that would piss you off. It would piss me off. So this is a buff for you. Killing enemies affected by Theros Strike makes allies immune to status effects for 5 seconds. But I should only receive 25% of the buff as far as like the attacking, stripping defenses and whatnot. Hell, they might not even need to receive that, and they can like get a diminished, instead of 5 seconds, maybe 3 or something for them. I'm not sure how to balance that out, but something to implement that, I think that would be fine. Let's go to hitting enemies with the javelins, right? So final stand. Hitting enemies with javelins gives additional shields that can overflow into an increased max overshield of 20,000. That passive works really well with this ability, but if you don't have that passive, then this shit kind of just doesn't work. Every 2,500 overshields lost has a 0.8 seconds at 100% duration of invulnerability, almost like a shield gate in a way, in a sense, or like an overguard break. You know what it is. This needs to have some sort of cap to limit how much shields he can have, though. Right now, I think the cap is 20,000. I think that's fine. I think it shouldn't even just be his overshield max, it just should be his shield max. And overshields would be implied in that. Um, Now changes to intrepid stand, right? Allies within 45 meters at 100% range gain extra damage reduction based on STYANAX's overshield. So you pop it, you throw in your spears, whatever. Actually, you don't even need to use that. It's just kind of like a passive with this augment. I think that'd be good. So instead of making it 20,000 for like the max you need to have for the full 90%, we're gonna make it 15, right? Just be in range. STYANAX, if he has 15,000 shields, or including luxuries, obviously, you get that 90% DR. That's what this is. Alright? Cool. So, next. Actually, no. Rally point now. We're gonna keep the changes. Killing enemies while under the effective rally point causes them to pulse on death in a radius. 1/3 of rally points initial radius, whatever that is. If that needs to be adjusted, of course I can adjust that. This pulse applies one of the listed effects randomly, but it never repeats sequentially. Alright. Let's say you kill 3 enemies. The first motherfucker to die might pulse status damage vulnerability. Boom. Everybody in that area, it'll pulse and they'll get hit with the status damage vulnerability. They're debuffed at 100% strength. Right? The second motherfucker to die, he'll pulse weak point damage or a permanent slow. One of the two. Let's say it's weak point damage. Okay, he's pulsing that. Everybody in that area who got pulsed, they get shot at weak points. They take more weak point damage. The next one is gonna happen sequentially. It'll have to be like the slow. It'll pulse a slow. Motherfuckers get slowed down. And this passive for the shields is tied to rally point. So you assume that off, you lose this passive. Alright, now let's talk about Axios and Theros Exalted. Axios and Theros can play like a sword and shield. They absolutely can. If you think not, then I think you're silly. Because we've got a fucking a damn exalted frame. Alright. We've got the Vinquibus, which you would kind of have to play like, at least in my mind. We've got Gunblades. We got all types of shit. You think they couldn't make this into an exalted? Now, shouldn't is not the same as couldn't. If you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. But to say they couldn't do it is just blasphemous. Anyways, let's keep reading. Somewhat like a. Oh damn, this is a big ass type one. If I were to give it some theoretical stats, right, for this hypothetical weapon. A base crit chance of 15, crit damage of 1.5, stat chance of 15, and IPS 20, 30, 75, so 125, and it can scale with strength, obviously. I want it to be projectile based, with a radial of 5.5 on impact, kind of like the Offensis, kind of got some inspiration from, and the Scourge as well, a lot of it from the Ferrex as well. I don't really want the range on it to be able to go below 3.5. Because that would kind of... Oh, I know what happened. That would kind of like take away from what it was supposed to be. And the radio attack, same, pretty much same stats. 50/50 blast though on that radial attack. And a unique trait, right? On weak point kills, attacks with Axios and there's an extra hit of 15% slash at number 6 strength. So if you can double that, make it stronger, whatever. It lasts for 10 seconds and it's refreshable. So like you get a weak point kill, okay, cool, get another one. That 10-second timer refreshes. All of this probably should scale with strength. The radius will attack can scale with range. Cool, something simple. Now next, oh yeah, this is just a thumbnail. I don't know who wrote this. It could have been me. It was me. But yeah, that's really all it is. But like to kind of showcase, right? Why is this so important? I need this to be presented in a way where I can make it somewhat unbiased. So let's use the Ferox. I think it's a great spear gun. It's my favorite spear gun. I kind of had this viral radiation. Why is it? Oh yeah, this is the build I had for like site or something. Do I have anything for it? Fuck it. We'll keep it like this for now. Let's just go ahead and I think you do need a demonstration though, for sure. Base kit though. I like how much strength you can get, but strong for what? Strong neck ass for what? Let's override it and let's just use this base kit, I guess. But if I were to use this base kit, I'd definitely have more range though. A lot more actually. Simply like for grouping and whatnot. And I would also use Intrepid Stand. Alright. Let's get to it though. Like, it really is simple. Alright. Get the ops. From there, it's kind of like just not the biggest radius, but alright. You hit them, and then you do this. Now, please don't be fooled by that. Like, it's cool here, but it's nothing to like be that excited for, honestly. So don't be excited for it. It's very simple. The passive on this, that spirit gun, I'm getting what, 137. Yeah, well, that's without shields. Let's be fair at least. 228. It's cool. I think the quote unquote shield game mechanic for it would be a lot nicer though. That's kind of just what he does. Let me know what y'all think. Like, is there any way that y'all would kind of change them, make them better? What do you like about them? What don't you like about them? Did I say something wrong? In your opinion, what am I missing? Let me know.